I'm just smiling because when I hear, I did try to warn all you guys that once World Cup fever starts, you change your minds about how you feel about the World Cup, despite the best efforts of BBC, Sky Sports. People like Alex Scott, Leah Williamson, Gary Lineker, Gary Neville. The list goes on, who try to spoil your experience and try to make you feel guilty for wanting to be at the World Cup. Thankfully, football always wins. Always wins. And, Johnny Infantino, he was very clumsy with what he said, but stones, glass houses, the West. That's all I've got to say.
Big up to everyone watching, man. Kenny and Jez's links are in the description, so make sure you follow both of them. And let's get straight into this because there has been a lot of hoo-ha, Jez. Gary Neville having his say, Gary Lineker, that guy, Leah Williamson, an Arsenal player, saying she's boycotting it. Alex Scott saying that she's only there because she loves her job as a lesbian woman. Obviously, we know the laws over in Qatar, but she was sat there on BBC yesterday, I think it was, saying that she's there because she loves her job. Mad how some of these people have come out with some of the statements they've come out and then all took the money to go to Qatar, innit? But what do you make of them all, mate?
Fakes, frauds, liars. They're in it for the money, mate. They've all had first class travel. They're staying in 5-star hotels, God knows where. They're living it up. They're getting paid a bleeding fortune. And they're just fake and frauds and bloody liars. And I've got no time for people like that. If you actually believe in something that you are very supportive of and you are vocal about, then you support it and you don't go. I'm sorry, but I've got my beliefs on certain facts and things. And if I don't agree with it, I'm not going to support it. I'm not going to go somewhere which I don't believe in. And I'm not going to get into that here because that's my own beliefs. But no, these people are absolutely disgraceful. I'm sorry. That is the way how I feel about it.
Yeah, mate, I totally agree. I think these people, I've been putting it over my Instagram. These people, Harry Kane's another one, wanted to wear the One Love armband and then decided against it because he might get a booking. And if he does that in the 2 games, he misses the 3rd game, etc., right? All this is highlighted to me is that you don't care anyway. Yeah, and it's all just for building up his traction on the internet. So then when he finishes football, he's got a massive amount of followers to market something to. That's all it comes down to for me, because these people are highlighting themselves very quickly as fakes. Like we took the knee today. There's some players in England, Ivan Toney, Wilfried Zaha, that refuse to take the knee. And people just need to start focusing on football, because at the end of the day, these people only do it for 2 reasons. Number one, because there's so many people out there that lap up their fake rubbish. Yeah. And number 2 is because it builds their brand. That's it. That's the only reasons they do it. And if Harry Kane genuinely cared about the LGBTQ community, yeah, he wouldn't have gone anyway. When he's wearing the rainbow laces thing the other day, the armband, yeah, he wouldn't have gone if he felt that strongly in supporting them. But Kenny, I know you've been sat there waiting patiently, mate. Give us your thoughts on it all.
Well, the thing about it is that I'm livid with the whole situation, because what's happened right now is the World Cup has been hijacked by football fans have been told what to do by the media. We had an opening ceremony, which is probably part of the World Cup. Every major tournament you have, with the World Cup in cricket, the World Cup in rugby, and the World Cup, right? I'm not going to call it the Men's World Cup, all right? Because it's the World Cup. Sorry, I don't want to offend anyone, but that's how I see it. It's the World Cup. This is what, the fact is we were robbed of the opening ceremony because the BBC decided that they wanted to show Chelsea versus Tottenham because of their commitment to women's sport. Again, that is fantastic, but you could have put it on BBC Two. This is the World Cup. Something we've been waiting for 4 years. We've known for 12 years that it was going to be in Qatar. And at the 11th hour, we weren't moaning about scheduling. we're moaning about, you know, the human rights. Yet Leah Williamson, our captain of the women's team, is in Dubai. What are you doing in Dubai?
Yeah, she was warm weather training in Dubai.
You shouldn't go there. You could go to warm weather training in Australia. Why you could
just go indoors and put the heating on 30 degrees?
And then you've got Alex Scott again, virtual singling. What are you doing there? Why are you in the tournament? You could easily have done it from a studio in London. The same with Gary Lineker and everyone else. The fact is that you've shown immense disrespect for the Qataris. You knew full well that it was going to be a Muslim country. Oh, alcohol's £12 a beer. Oh, boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. A Muslim country in their country. You're showing great respect. Yet in this country, we're always saying that if they can't accept our country's customs here, that they should go home. And we're doing it in their country when we're guests in their country. And then people say, oh, Ken, you're not reading the room. I am reading the room. Because let me tell you something now. The BBC and the way that people in this country have gone on and shown disrespect to Qatar. The fact is, this is the World Cup. The World Cup, the BBC decided for 30 minutes not to just talk about that, which they had all of breakfast TV to speak about. They had loads of opportunities. Gary Lineker's never off Twitter, neither is Alex Scott. Yet the tournament, you waited for 4 years. They've done that. I don't understand. I do understand it. And then they're slagging off, a guy who, he may have crossed his legs, probably tripped over his shoelaces, probably well-meaning and everything. But the fact is, he had to defend his organisation and to defend his tournament. People think they didn't like the fact, and I think people more objection with the fact that it wasn't the fact that he said he had empathy with everyone. It's the fact that he pointed the finger back at the West, and they didn't like that. That's the real reason they were outraged. Not so people like Mr. Reddy saying, "Oh, you don't know what it's like," and Cave Solico and blah blah. I'll tell you right now. 4 years ago, when it was in Russia, you weren't doing this. What about in 1978? So let's get it right now. You better get used to it. The Middle East, there's going to be more World Cups in the Middle East. It's called the World Cup. It's not the European World Cup or the South American World Cup. You've had the show for yourself for a long, long time now. It's about time you get used to the fact that, we may not see in the World Cup. Alternatively, South Africa and Europe again. You've got to spread it around. Just accept it. Money talks in football, whether you like it or not.
Gary Lineker is a hypocrite. That guy is an absolute mug. Did he take his refugee to Qatar with him? Because apparently he was going to host refugees at his house or something, wasn't he? Where's his refugee? Is he at home alone? I know these people, they sit there and they want to be the freedom fighters and they want to be seen as diverse in their opinions about everything. And it's all for traction. Right? When they do Match of the Day in England, they don't go to every single game, Gary Lineker, does he? He sits in a studio in London or Manchester. So why couldn't they do it at home? And let's not forget, you two are paying a license fee for him to have a jolly up in Qatar. Because you're paying your TV license for that. Yeah, and they're all staying in the best hotels, eating the best food, on the best flights, with all the best makeup artists helping them out and all of this. And they're doing all of that off your license fee. Yeah, and they've got the audacity to sit there and tell people, no. Mate, the fact that they didn't show the opening ceremony is a disgrace. Absolute disgrace. I had to find that. Yeah, and listen, I'm not one massive on international football, but I want to see the opening ceremony. I'll have a look at that. I had to find it on YouTube. I had to find that on YouTube. That is an absolute disgrace. And if I was the people in charge of Qatar, I'd deport them all. Real talk, I'd just deport them, but they won't because it then smears their World Cup. I'd deport them all. I would refuse them all entry. Well, you want to sit there slagging us off constantly? Cool, you ain't coming in then. Yeah, it's their country. At the end of the day, I said this on the show the other day. If you move to a country like I have to adhere to the Spanish rules. Yeah, some of the rules in Spain are completely backwards in my mind compared to England, but I have to adhere to them. Otherwise, I'm going to get arrested or fined. It's mad. It's actually mad. And then people seem to think that they can go and let other countries dictate to other countries what they do in their own country for the sake of a World Cup for 6 weeks. Who do these people think they are? Like, real talk, who do they actually think they are? It's an absolute disgrace. Yeah, and all of them should get in the bin. And the one thing this is proven, yeah, is that counts and nothing else does. Yeah, because Alex Scott's gone there going, oh, well, I've come here. And, you know, a lot of people were telling me not to come here. And they said, so why did you come? Oh, because I really enjoy my job. No, mate, it was about that. And she's sitting there talking about the workers that were getting paid £1 and they all passed away and lost their lives. Okay, so your money you're getting paid from the BBC this tournament then, Alex Scott, yeah? Are you donating that to the families of the people that passed away? Are you donating all that money then, yeah? Because if you just love your job, you don't need the money out of it then, do you? Like, these people are absolute scumbags, but the reason they do it is because millions of people lap this up. And as for her, the only reason she's got a big following and why she gets so many gigs, mate, is because men and women fancy her. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Because when I listen to that woman talk, she chats out bollocks. And that's my rant on her done. Anyway, F Alex Scott.
The fact is, Lee, let's not forget, I think it was Afsel, wasn't it, yesterday, he said in our group chat that the England shirts are made by people in Bangladesh on 21 pence an hour.
There you go. Has Alex Scott got an issue with that?
No.
Gary Lineker, has he tweeted about it? Has anyone tweeted about this? Has Harry Kane said, no, I'm not wearing that shirt because that's a disgrace? Yeah? They haven't, have they? They don't care. Yeah, because it's not fashionable. It's fashionable to take the knee in England. It's fashionable to talk about LGBTQ. It's fashionable to talk about Qatar and slag off Qatar at the moment. As soon as the Qatar World Cup ends, how many of these people are going to continue with their pursuit to slag off that country? None of them. Yeah, and how many of these hypocrites will end up in Dubai at some point in the summer? Probably all of them. Exactly.
And that's the thing. The situation is in the West, especially in this country, we have two channels dedicated to what they call anti-woke sentiments. GB News and Talk News, both on the satellite channels. And so unless we sort out the situation here, we can't go Qatar and say we're perfect. Yeah, because simple reason is just no one's saying you've got to talk to criticize, but that's when the tournaments are on, then fine, concentrate on the football. That's all we ask. All we ask. You know, your fact is a small country, you know, who to a lot of people had the temerity to win the bid. It's not their fault that people accepted you know, the gifts and flattery to get the job, get the tournament. And let's face it, one of the reasons why Russia got a tournament and one of the reasons why Qatar's got a tournament is, of course, it's for the other things we know about. But most importantly, they can actually afford to hold it. You know, they've got economies, they can afford to hold it. And I think that's
nobody's talking about the 300 billion it's cost to build this World Cup, right? And when they do mention it, which they don't. I've seen a couple of graphs out there showing how much the Russia and the South Africa and the sliding scale. Other than that, nobody's really said that it's cost 300 billion to build all the infrastructure out there. And it's not just the infrastructure for the stadiums; it's for the country as well, by the way. And not one person have I seen with a big profile or a footballer or somebody in the mainstream media for sport. Not one person have I seen come out and say that when the World Cup ends, them stadiums are going to be recycled. Yeah, them stadiums getting taken down and they're going to recycle everything. Has anyone mentioned that? Because I ain't seen them. Yeah, so why are they slagging off one thing and not boosting it? They're recycling every single thing. They're not just going to leave empty stadiums sat there. They'll knock it all down and they'll recycle all the stuff. Yeah, and that'll get shipped out here, there, and everywhere.
The fact is, Europe and South America believe that only they should be holding the World Cup. They don't mind the United States of America because the United States of America have got billionaires of pumping money into our football. They didn't like it in '94, but since then, not a problem. Because what's happened is that, you know, there's loads of avenues for their famous players to enrich themselves when their careers are done in this country. Rooney, the Beckhams, the Nevilles, all those sort of people. But like Saudi Arabia, you've got Sky having, you know, mentioned that the king of Saudi Arabia was sitting next to Infantino. So what? If they're allowed to make a bid for the World Cup, aren't they? Unless my memory serves me right, it seems like most boxing seems to be taking their money to the Middle East. Newcastle has been bought on by a Saudi Arabian. Money does talk. You can't have it. You know, we've lost football's lost a moral high ground when it comes to criticising these regimes when they've been taking the penny and the pounds for years. It's become a business. The minute it became a business, you've got no right to virtual signal about the countries who happen to outbid other countries to hold these tournaments. You can't do it.